A 2-hour drive south into the desert brought us to the latest chapter in how the government is dealing with Israel's statusless African migrants. Behind me is the new open detention facility known as Holot in the Negev in southern Israel. At the moment there are over 300 detainees here, but the government is aiming to fill it with over 3,000 people. The question of what exactly will happen to these people has sparked fiery debate between politicians in Israel and with NGOs and activists against the state. Holot from the outside appears rather colourful, but up close it still looks and feels like a prison. We saw several detainees sitting around a table together next to a basketball court. But when we stopped to speak to a couple of young men by the fence, there was an unavoidable sense of boredom and despair. We walked freely around part of the barbed wire double-fenced perimeter until a warden in a vehicle told us to proceed to the main gate. An hour after the midday roll call, several detainees were finally let outside.
My friend, how are you?
So you see detainees are boarding the 44 bus, which takes them to Beersheba. A number of ones that we've spoken to said that from there they'll try to get on different types of transport that'll take them to Tel Aviv, after which point they will then try to make it back here by the evening roll call later on at night.
25-year-old Solomon tells us he left Eritrea after he was framed by a senior military officer in the army and then imprisoned for a crime he says he did not commit.
He kidnapped among the border between Sinai and Israel. There were also some his friends from Eritrea. They were kidnapped there, and they took them in one just like camp there in Sinai. And there were some Eritrean ladies. They raped those ladies. After they returned back, they tried again to take another lady. Then at that time he caught them. After he caught them, they beat him, they hung with chain, and they released the others, and they put him alone there, and they raped him for himself. For 5 days, they take a camera photograph, while they were raping him. He said that I was in prison, now I am also in prison. It's very difficult for me. It's very difficult to treat myself. It disturbs me in my mind. I don't know. Even it's very difficult for me to express it, how it's feeling.
Solomon has gone from imprisonment in Israel's closed detention facility, Saharonim, straight into Holot with no taste of freedom in between. Rashid says he left his family behind in Darfur to seek help during a time of civil war. He travelled to Khartoum, where he was then arrested, prompting him to also flee his homeland.
My family, I have more than 4 years and a half. I didn't see them, and they are in Darfur, they are in camp. And now they believe when I went outside to Sudan, maybe I want to do something to help them. But really, I am not helping them because I also been like them or bad than them. It's more worth it because now I am in the prison also.
Isaac, also from Darfur, tells us he fears the protest strikes last month in Israel, which saw tens of thousands of them rallying outside the Knesset, did little to help because no one is thinking of them as people who are in need of help in the first place.
דיברנו, ביקשנו לפני 2, 3, 4, ביקשנו, אנחנו בליטים ככה וככה, אמרו לו לא, אתם, אף אחד לא מחשיב לנו. עדיין אנחנו בכלא, אומרים תחזרו לסודן, סודן איפה אנחנו נחזרו? מחכים לנו שמה.
What are the authorities telling you? Are they giving you options?
Authority did not give us information. We only know that we get ordered from the Ministry of Interior, ordered that you should go to Holot, and we came to Holot now. We are staying in Holot, but no one give us like awareness what you should do. If you want to apply for the refugees, so no one tell us nothing. For me, $3,500 or even money is nothing. What does it mean if I took the money and go back and then I lose myself? So this is a real problem. But for me to come to stay in Holot, it's better than go back to Sudan.
This is Camilla Schick reporting for Jerusalem Post News.